Thank you, anyways, to Jasper and the whole team for having us here today. My name is Max. I head the business and operations for Narrators. For those of you not familiar with Narrators, I'm just going to share a few words. We're a KOL, KOC, content creator, influencer, whatever term is most relevant to you, agency. Headquartered and founded here in Singapore, and we operate in 10 markets in Southeast Asia. One of the thought leadership pieces that I wanted to spend the very short minutes that I have up here to share with you today is really rethinking about the status quo of what an agency-brand relationship looks like, right? Influence as a media is still relatively new to a lot of people. It's obviously evolving extremely quickly. AI comes into play, algorithm comes into play, but it's not that new, right? It's arguably as old as Web 2. And we spend a lot of time interrogating our community, which represents a combined total following of 1.5 billion within our Narrators mobile app, and really trying to understand what's important to them, what matters, what do they want, what are their motivations, right? And one of the things that we still observe to this day with a lot of brands that come out and reach out to us is a very narrow-minded view on their approach to influence and how they want to tackle influence, right? A lot of them, especially the mid to smaller size brands, tend to approach influence on a very per-campaign basis. Oftentimes, to tick a box in the marketing mix, or as an afterthought, right? If there's any other KOL agencies here today, I'm sure we can all attest to these point-blank requests of, I need an influencer list, I need, rate cards, hey, can I get a quote, right? The difficulty with that is it does very little to achieve long-term core brand objectives. And it also misaligns with the needs and ambitions and motivations of creators that we hear from and that we see through the surveys that we carry out with our community, right? And so in our role as an agency, we're really here to moderate and facilitate the conversations between the brands and the creators, right? We serve the needs of our community and we serve the needs of the brands. And we have a deep, deep vested interest in the success and maximization of value for all parties, right? Because we sit in the middle of the ecosystem, the epicenter of the creator economy. We all know what a content creator looks for in any brand collaboration. I think the essentials and the common topics are understood vastly. Fair compensation, right? They want to be paid for their time in product or otherwise. They want to be paid for their creativity, for their reach, for the trust that they have with their audience. They want feasible timelines, right? We all know that a rushed execution leads to mediocre results. They want creative freedom. They want to be able to interpret a brief in a way that is relevant to them. I always tell our brands that briefs cannot be a one-size-fits-all, right? They want product sponsorships. These are basically the essentials. One of the latest growing motivations from our community of creators through surveys that we've carried out is a strong desire to move into longer-term, more pronounced and meaningful collaborations. And again, as moderators and facilitators of these conversations between the brand and the creators, it's really important to communicate that clearly to the brands, right? And so in today's world where influence should hold a very important role in the marketing mix of any brand, it's important to understand that putting the pieces together to that influencer marketing puzzle take time, right? It takes trial and error, it takes a dozen of campaigns, it takes sitting down and looking at the data. And oftentimes there's still a misinterpretation as to what value is derived by your KOL agencies, right? We have much more to bring to the table than just our extensive KOL network, our database of creators, and our ability to execute the campaigns for you, right? And that's kind of the thought leadership and the role that we're trying to play in this, influencer marketing landscape where the barrier to entry is very slowly disappearing. And so one of the important takeaways, having been in the market for 10 years, is we noticed that the most impactful work that we've carried out, the work that we're the most proud of, the most viral contents that we've been able to produce, has always, most of the time, been with brands that we've been working with for a long time, right? Brands that have given us the time to really understand the ins and outs, go through learnings, run a dozen campaigns, identify, and extract deep recommendations from case studies, taking the time to identify the creators that work best for you. These things don't happen overnight, right? A small campaign is not going to move the needle. And so I guess my key message today, and some of the discussions that I'd like to have more deeply with brands, creators, and agencies out here today, is really how can we as KOL agencies maximize our value, right? Beyond the traditional conception that you should reach out to your, and I'm really talking about specialized KOL agencies, right? Different from the media agencies and the creative agencies. What can we do for you further than being the procurement of your KOL lists, right, and rate cards, right? How do we participate into the bigger picture conversations that really matter, right? I spend a lot of time having discussions with our brands about discussing the yearly KOL strategy, right? Not just that specific campaign. Where do we fit in the whole top to the bottom of the funnel discussion, right? Where does influence sit in your whole marketing temple, right? These are discussions that we need to have with you to be able to effectively and impactfully help you put together the pieces to that influencer marketing puzzle, right? And so, yeah, that's really one of the topics of conversation that we're putting a lot of attention towards lately. I really love Creator Week because it really brings all the chess pieces of the creator economy together and allows us to have these productive discussions as to how we can, maximize value and, make the ecosystem cherish, right? It's really a team game. So, yeah, that's really my message today, and looking forward to maybe diving deeper into this conversation with some of you. Thank you again, Jasper, for having us.